Happy New Year, and welcome to the January 2021 edition of the Spolitics Global Election Bulletin. We go first to Africa, and specifically to Ghana, where on the 7th the West African Republic held a general election. Incumbent Nana Akufo-Addo of the New Patriotic Party took a win in a narrowly won race for the Ghanaian presidency, beating out the National Democratic Congress of repeated rival John Mahama. In an even closer run race, the unicameral parliament was left a dead heat, with both parties taking 137 of the 275 seats, leaving the sole successful independent candidate, Andrew Asiama Amawako of the Fomena Adansi North constituency, as kingmaker. Neighbouring Niger held their general election on the 27th of December. Mohamed Bazoum of the Nigerian Party for Democracy and Socialism won a plurality of votes in the presidential race, which means there will be a February 21st runoff against former President Mahamadou Ousmane of the Democratic and Republican Renewal, who came a relatively distant second. The results of the elections for the National Assembly are still being counted, and we will let you know these in next month's bulletin. The recent tragic history of the Central African Republic continues, as the December 27th election has been overshadowed with violence once again, with observers also reporting widespread voting irregularities in those areas that were able to go to the polls. Ex-President Francois Bozize was prevented from standing, which may have contributed to the political violence in the country. We are still awaiting the official results, although we do not feel that they will be representative of free and fair elections. Looking ahead to January and what is likely to be among the most significant African elections of the year, on the 14th the people of Uganda go to the polls to elect both their president and their unicameral parliament. The incumbent president, Yoweri Museveni, who has ruled the country since 1986, faces one of his strongest democratic challenges to date from 38-year-old actor, singer and businessman Bobi Wine. However, continued doubts remain as to the freedom and fairness of elections in Uganda, with the European Union refusing to send observers due to historic electoral irregularities, and Mr. Wine having been arrested on multiple occasions throughout the campaign. Next, we move to Asia. Following the disputed October 2020 parliamentary elections and the subsequent pro-democracy protests across the nation, Kyrgyzstan goes to the polls in January for the election of a new president. The protests, which resulted in the resignation of the then Prime Minister and Speaker of the Parliament and now the incumbent President Surunbay Jeenbekov, the current Prime Minister Sadir Yaparov of the Nationalist Fatherland Party is widely expected to win the election. Neighbouring Kazakhstan also goes to the polls on the 10th to elect members of their unicameral parliament, the Majlis. The ruling Radiant Fatherland Party is widely expected to retain their significant majority. Kazakhstan has a history of severe electoral irregularities. However, relatively new President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev has made repeated calls for a more open and democratic Kazakh state, so it remains to be seen whether he has kept to his word. And finally to Europe, where on the 6th of December elections were held in Romania for seats in both chambers of their parliament. The Social Democratic Party, who held the most seats going into the election, managed to retain their plurality, in a surprise to some pollsters. However, after 12 days of negotiations, a majority coalition led by the National Liberal Party was announced, with support from the 2020 USR Plus Alliance and the Democratic Union for Hungarians in Romania. Looking ahead to January, on the 24th, incumbent Portuguese President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa is running for his second and final term. Spolitics forecasts a comfortable win for the 72-year-old. And that rounds out a rather brief first edition of 2021. Thank you for listening to the Spolitics Global Election Bulletin, and please do follow us on Twitter at SpoliticsYT, on Instagram at the Spolitics channel, and at YouTube in the link in the show notes. If you want to contact us, please do so directly, either via the socials, or you can email us at spoliticschannel@gmail.com. This has been a Spolitics podcast. I've been Rory Sparshott. Until next time, goodbye.